It is early evening in DFW, and we've got a cold front moving in. Here's Mickey in the background over here barking like he's in charge of something. He's barking at the girls. They're both over here. They're listening to the thunder and stuff in the background. It occurred to me, all that fancy music and stuff that you hear in the background of so many videos. Yeah, I don't have a system like that, so I'm going to rely on Mother Nature and my wind chime here for background noise. Got quite a lot of wind blowing. If I had 10 wind chimes, it wouldn't be enough. That's just a pretty sound to me. I've never met a wind chime that I didn't like. When I was 7, about 1960, 60 or 61, must have been 62, because I was in a car wreck when I was fresh out of first grade. That had made me 7. And my right leg was broken, and so I was put in traction. In the old days, they didn't do pins and all that stuff. They just put you in traction. What they do is, in my case, they put a 5-pound weight on a pulley system. I was in a hospital bed, and the pulley system allowed the weight to pull on my leg enough to keep the bones from grinding against each other. And in my case, what happened was the right leg is now about 3/4 of an inch longer than the left leg. Lots of leaves coming down. Not lots of leaves coming. Well, this Yaupon holly above me it sheds leaves all year round. So I got one leg longer than the other. We're gonna watch these trees over here. Last spring, we had a 90-mile-an-hour wind come through here, and there was that oak tree that you can see right there in the middle of the screen. There was a healthier one about 5-10 feet this way, and it was almost as tall as the pine trees, and it was blown over and ripped out of the ground, literally ripped out of the ground. There's only about 8 feet for it to grow between the house and the next door neighbor's driveway. It fell right there on the corner of his property and broke the roof and did thousands of dollars worth of damage to his house. And it's terribly embarrassing. So I just want to watch these trees, see what they do in this wind. That old pine tree, I think it's a loblolly pine, I don't remember. It doesn't seem to have much give at all to the breeze. Leaves coming off the front of the house. Wind's hitting it just right, kicking up the leaves that are dead on the other side of the roof there. Man, I ramble a lot. My girls, when I was writing, said, you can see your ADHD coming out. I guess you can. Not sure what they're hearing, but we got something causing. There's old Mr. Copper. Clementine was by the gate. What up, Copper? When I was probably 8, maybe 9, Dad decided that we needed a new hay barn. I had 3 older brothers still at home, I think. 2 older brothers at least still at home. And they built the hay barn, which was basically a shed for putting hay in and place where the cows could get in. We had 2 milk cows to get in out of the rain, so you had the hay barn and the cow lot. And then later, a couple years later, Dad started buying young horses and got Miss Clementine back. Dad started buying young horses and we'd work with young horses. I learned to ride on those young horses that were about what we call green growth. They'd buck with you once in a while, but I hung on tight, as he said, and got to where I was pretty good at riding bucking horses and training young horses to be roping horses. When I was about 17, I was out in the pasture bringing cattle in, and it's like 127 degrees or 409, I don't remember, probably 95 or 100 degrees out in the pasture in the middle of July. And I decided, I don't want to be a cowboy. So that next year I got busy and started paying attention in school better and managed to graduate and go off to college, and went one semester and thought, well, this sucks. So quit college and went into the Army. Life hadn't been the same since. That hay barn, we had a 2.5 acres, and that hay barn was built right above the creek, and the creek ran probably 30 yards across the corner of our property and came down out of Mr. Shannon's pasture and went into, I don't remember what his name was, the other man's pasture. Anytime it rained, me and my best friend Rodney, we'd run down there to the pasture and get the shovels out, try to build a dam across that creek just to see how long we could keep the creek dammed up. We always lost, of course. Never lasted very long, but we had fun playing in the water and getting muddy and having a good time. We didn't have any place to go swimming, so that was as close to swimming as we got to get. To milk cows, we'd milk the cows in the morning and afternoon, and then gather eggs. And at the end of the day, my sister and I were responsible up until I was about 10 or 11 years old, 12 years old. We were responsible for going down to the barn and catching chicken. There's that thing. We'd go down to the barn and catch a chicken, chop its head off, and let it flop around until it quit moving, and then take it to the house. And Mama would dip it in boiled water, and then we'd pluck it. We'd pull all the feathers off of it and take it back to her, and then she'd cut it up. That's what the whole family'd have for supper. Is 8 of us, Mom and Dad, and then 3 brothers, all older than me, and then 2 sisters, both older than me. And have fresh milk from the cows and butter from the milk, and I love the sound of the wind. Everything was fresh. Big garden, 2.5 acres. We'd have probably a half acre at least of garden, green beans and corn and squash and tomatoes and potatoes and peppers and I guess that was it. We ate a lot of fresh fruits. Life was good in the 60s. Y'all have a good day. Life is good.